Imagine this. You are standing on the precipice of a $3 billion payday, a deal so monumental it will redefine your industry. The letter of intent is signed, your investors have already seen the spreadsheets, calculating their magnificent returns down to the very last cent. The press release announcing your company's acquisition by the undisputed king of artificial intelligence, OpenAI, is written, approved, and waiting to be sent. You are just days, perhaps even hours away from the celebration. And then, in a stunning, catastrophic twist, the entire thing implodes. It vanishes. This is not the plot of a corporate thriller movie. This is the shocking, real-life drama that just engulfed the promising AI startup, Windsurf. But the collapse of this giant deal is only the beginning of the story. The real bombshell is who was lurking in the shadows, ready to snatch victory from the jaws of OpenAI's devastating defeat. Today, we are pulling back the curtain on how Google's parent company, Alphabet Incorporated, executed a breathtakingly audacious maneuver, striking a $2.4 billion deal for the very same talent and technology, leaving its arch-rival utterly blindsided. This is a story of brutal competition, high-stakes corporate chess, and a controversial new strategy that the world's most powerful companies are using to tighten their grip on the future of artificial intelligence. In this deep dive, we will expose exactly why that $3 billion OpenAI deal so spectacularly disintegrated at the 11th hour. We will dissect the anatomy of Google's cunning counteroffer and reveal what they are truly buying for that massive price tag. And crucially, we will tackle the question on everyone's mind. Is this a masterstroke of business genius? Or is it a new, insidious tactic designed to bypass the law and crush the very innovation the AI revolution was built upon? You will not want to miss a single detail of this unfolding saga. The story begins where it almost ended, with OpenAI on the verge of its massive acquisition of Windsurf. The deal was valued at a colossal $3 billion. It was so far along in the process that OpenAI had nearly announced it to the public in early May of this year. Insiders reported that the letter of intent had been signed, and Windsurf investors were provided with waterfall agreements, which are detailed documents specifying exactly how much money each and every party was expected to make from the sale. It was, for all intents and purposes, a done deal. So what happened? What could possibly derail a transaction of this magnitude when it was already at the 1-yard line? The answer lies not with OpenAI, nor with Windsurf, but with OpenAI's most important and powerful partner, Microsoft Corporation. The roadblock, the single point of failure that brought this entire $3 billion empire crashing down, can be traced back to the complex and sometimes tense relationship between OpenAI and its primary backer. Microsoft isn't just an investor in OpenAI, it's the financial and infrastructural backbone of the company, providing the immense computing power needed to train its world-famous models. In return for this support, Microsoft has a foundational agreement with OpenAI, and that agreement contains a critical clause. The software giant has the right to access the startup's technology. This includes technology that OpenAI develops and, crucially, technology that it acquires. When Windsurf, a company fiercely protective of its own unique intellectual property, came into the picture, they looked at this arrangement and delivered a firm and resounding no. Windsurf refused to grant Microsoft, a direct competitor in some respects, access to its crown jewels. They would sell to OpenAI, but their proprietary code and systems would not be handed over to the giant from Redmond. This created an impossible deadlock. OpenAI was caught between a rock and a hard place. On one side, they had a $3 billion deal that would bring in phenomenal new technology. On the other, they had their indispensable partner, Microsoft, which was unwilling to waive its contractual rights. OpenAI was simply unable to secure Microsoft's agreement on this point. This single issue, a dispute over intellectual property access, became the poison pill that killed the entire acquisition. This moment reveals the incredibly fragile tightrope OpenAI walks. While it presents itself as an independent research leader, this incident starkly reminds the world of the golden handcuffs it wears. Microsoft's investment is both its greatest asset and its potential Achilles heel. This conflict also reportedly touches on the ongoing, sensitive negotiations about OpenAI's efforts to restructure itself into a more traditional commercial entity. Every move OpenAI makes to become more corporate and profitable potentially creates new friction with its biggest partner, which expects to be the primary beneficiary of its technological breakthroughs. An OpenAI spokesperson could only confirm that the exclusivity period for their acquisition offer had expired, a quiet, corporate-speak admission of a colossal failure, allowing Windsurf to explore its other options. And oh, what an option was waiting. It is a masterful, almost surgical strike by Google, wouldn't you agree? If you're finding this corporate maneuvering as fascinating as we are, hit that like button to let us know. It really helps us bring you more deep dives like this one. With OpenAI's deal dead in the water, bleeding out on the boardroom floor, another titan stepped out of the shadows. Google, through its parent company Alphabet, didn't just express interest, they moved with stunning speed and precision. They finalized their own deal with Windsurf, a massive $2.4 billion arrangement. But here is where the story takes a fascinating and legally ambiguous turn. This wasn't a straightforward acquisition like the one OpenAI had planned. Google, perhaps learning from the very antitrust concerns that plague companies of its size, crafted a much more subtle instrument. For their $2.4 billion, Google isn't buying the company, Windsurf. Instead, they are executing what is known in the industry as an acqui-hire, but on an unprecedented scale. They are recruiting Windsurf's most valuable assets, its people. This includes the Chief Executive Officer, Varun Mohan, the co-founder, Douglas Chen, and a team of their key staff members. These individuals will be integrated directly into Google's own elite artificial intelligence unit, DeepMind. The second part of the deal is even more critical. Google is securing the licensing rights to Windsurf's powerful artificial intelligence software. It's an incredibly clever move. Google gets the brains, the leadership, and the technology, the very heart and soul of the company, all without the formal title of ownership. This structure allows them to absorb a competitor's strengths and deny them to a rival like OpenAI, while potentially sidestepping the intense regulatory scrutiny that comes with a multi-billion-dollar acquisition. Beyond just dodging regulators, this strategy is managerially brilliant. By hiring a cohesive, proven team, Google bypasses years of potential integration debt, the messy, expensive, and often failed process of merging two distinct corporate cultures. They are essentially plugging a high-performance engine, already perfectly tuned, directly into their DeepMind division, expecting it to deliver results from day one. But this wasn't an isolated incident. This move is part of a much larger, more concerning trend that is sweeping through Silicon Valley. The tech giants have found a new playbook. Look no further than Microsoft's own actions earlier in 2024 with another promising AI startup, Inflection AI. In a strikingly similar maneuver, Microsoft didn't buy the company outright. Instead, they hired its famous founders and a significant portion of its staff, effectively gutting Inflection AI of its core talent. Alongside the hires, they signed a massive licensing deal to use the company's AI software. The outcome? Inflection AI, once a rising competitor, was neutralized. Its core assets were absorbed into the Microsoft ecosystem, all without the messy paperwork and intense governmental review of a formal acquisition. The pattern continues across the industry. Amazon.com Incorporated has been on a similar recruitment drive, hiring top executives and other key employees from the startup Adept AI Labs Incorporated. And Google itself is no stranger to this tactic. In a separate deal, Google hired the co-founders of the popular startup Character.ai, once again through a carefully structured licensing agreement rather than a full buyout. Critics argue that these arrangements are acquisitions in all but name, meticulously designed to fly under the radar of antitrust regulations. They allow behemoths like Google, Microsoft, and Amazon to create a powerful talent vortex, sucking in the best and brightest minds and their innovative technologies. This has a chilling effect on the entire startup ecosystem. It consolidates power and reduces the number of independent competitors in the market before they can even grow large enough to become a genuine threat. You might be thinking, This all sounds a bit sketchy. Is this even legal? Well, you're not the only one asking that question. The smoke from these numerous high-profile deals has finally formed a cloud big enough to catch the attention of government regulators in the United States and abroad. These acqui-hire and licensing arrangements, which critics argue are nothing more than cleverly disguised acquisitions, are now officially under the microscope. Federal authorities have launched formal investigations into some of these very deals. They are trying to determine if these transactions are a deliberate strategy to evade antitrust laws, which are designed to prevent monopolies and promote fair competition. The core of their argument is a legal concept known as nascent competition. The fear is that big tech is buying and absorbing small, innovative companies not just for their current technology, but to eliminate them as a future competitor. Regulators look at the history of tech, like Facebook's acquisition of Instagram and WhatsApp years ago, and see deals that were approved at the time, but which, in hindsight, eliminated major potential rivals and cemented the parent company's dominance. They are determined not to let that happen again in the age of AI. The outcome of these investigations could have profound implications for the entire tech industry. If regulators decide that these deals are anti-competitive, it could force a complete overhaul of how big tech companies are allowed to interact with, invest in, and acquire talent from the startup world. The Google Windsurf deal, therefore, is not just a business transaction. It's a test case that could define the rules of engagement in the AI arms race for years to come. So, after all this drama, what is it about this company, Windsurf, that makes it worth billions of dollars and puts two of the world's most powerful corporations at each other's throats? Windsurf, which officially operates under the name Exafunction Incorporated, is at the forefront of one of the most lucrative and transformative fields in AI today: AI-powered coding assistants. These are not simple autocomplete tools. These are sophisticated systems capable of performing incredibly complex tasks, like generating functional software code from simple natural language prompts. A developer could simply write, "Create a mobile app interface for a coffee shop with a menu, ordering system, and loyalty program," and the AI would generate the underlying code to build it. The potential to revolutionize software development, making it faster, cheaper, and more accessible, is immense. This is why the technology is considered so valuable. Think about the implications. This technology could democratize software creation, allowing entrepreneurs with great ideas but no coding skills to bring their visions to life. For large corporations, it could slash development costs and accelerate innovation cycles by orders of magnitude. In a world with a constant shortage of highly skilled programmers, the company that controls the best AI coding assistant holds a significant strategic advantage for the entire global economy. Founded just a few years ago in 2021, Windsurf quickly made a name for itself in this competitive space. Before this acquisition saga even began, the company had already secured over $200 million in venture capital funding, a clear signal from savvy investors that their technology was not just promising, but potentially game-changing. They were a serious player with a powerful product, making them a prime target for the giants of the industry. So, to recap this incredible corporate saga, OpenAI, the darling of the AI world, had a $3 billion deal to acquire Windsurf, all but signed, sealed, and delivered. The deal collapsed at the last possible moment due to a conflict with its own key partner, Microsoft, over intellectual property rights, exposing the deep tensions in that critical alliance. As OpenAI's dream deal turned to dust, its chief rival, Google, swept in with a surgically precise $2.4 billion deal. This deal cleverly avoids a formal acquisition, instead hiring away Windsurf's key talent and licensing its technology. This entire event has cast a bright spotlight on a growing, controversial trend of acqui-hires that regulators are now investigating as a potential violation of antitrust laws, specifically to protect nascent competition. What we have witnessed is more than just a deal. It's a high-stakes poker game where Google just played a winning hand, leaving OpenAI and Microsoft to reconsider the complexities of their own partnership. But with regulators now circling, the ultimate question remains: Will this new playbook of not quite acquisitions become the standard operating procedure for big tech? Or will it be the very thing that brings a new wave of government crackdowns upon Silicon Valley? The AI arms race has just entered a new, far more subtle, and potentially more dangerous phase, where the battle is not just for technology, but for the very talent that creates it. What do you think about these kinds of deals? Are they a smart business strategy or an unfair tactic designed to stifle competition? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss our next investigation into the hidden wars of the